Hi, my name is Erin, and this is my week 2 discussion board post. So, one of the articles that we had to read for this week in class was the study of groups past, present, and future from McGrath, Arrow, and Berdahl. So, in this article, they mention how when research was happening with group dynamics and social psychology, that past research, one of the downsides they found was that they were conducting research in lab settings. They were doing this by taking fake test groups, giving them a task to complete, and then observing them. But that didn't really give a full picture of what groups can be. It was very short term. So they did take note of that and improved it by doing more so going into the field, observing real life groups and seeing how they're interacting. But another downside that the article depicts is it was very short term. They were looking at these groups very isolated. They were coming together to complete this goal, and that was it. But this article then goes on to highlight that groups are more complex. They're more dynamic with that. They have different moving parts, and they also come in like multiple forms, which I think was a good thing to highlight. It's not just come into a group, get the task done, and you're done, which happens a lot in like class settings where that is the goal. It is come together, do your group project, present your topic, and then group's done, you move on, submit it, get your grade. But there's more to that. That's, I feel like, as a student, what you're used to because we go through all this schooling and that's what you're doing. But then moving on to, say, a company setting where you're forming these small groups, you are, if it's not just a short term, you're with these groups. This is the group to uphold this goal, and it's not just the goal's done and you move on. You want to keep obtaining it, keep doing it. Same with like a sports team. You're coming together, that's still a group. There's still dynamics of how they're working through that and going through as a group, and those individuals are affecting that group. We did also have a video that we could have watched that was understanding group dynamics. And one of the main things that was interesting was from 3 different research. So the Fortune 500 companies, they did research, found out that the number one reason people get fired is because it's due to their inability to get along with others. Then another research from Yale researched why people are getting fired from their first jobs was the number one reason their inability to work with others or get along with others. And then there was even a resident assistant study that was done of first year college students and why they're struggling living in the residence hall. And that the number one reason was their inability to get along with others. There's so many parts in our day to day that we are in groups. We are in group settings. We are constantly seeing other groups and how they're going. And the college dorm one is interesting because they are viewing like their first year of college as, wow, this is terrible, this is bad. But it's due to either their roommates' inability to get along or themselves, their inability to work well with people, work through it, and understand themselves, their like fundamentals of what they need to relay, and the importance of what other people are giving to them. So I feel like groups, mostly like in school, I've experienced it the most. Every time it'd be like, oh, it's time for a group project. I see a lot of people in class like, oh my gosh, no, not this again. Because there's a bad rep with working with groups a lot of times. People don't take their fair share. They're not doing what they should. A lot of times, if it's not like elementary to high school, college levels, you might not even know the people in your group, especially with COVID and online classes becoming more and more used and relevant. You don't know these people. You are seeing their texts, their discussion board posts over the screen, and then you get assigned to a group with them, and you're relying on texting them or emailing them. So I feel like it can be stressful, and people kind of take a step back because they don't want to be in that setting. I personally have been in a lot of groups before. I've had good groups, I've had bad groups. I feel like my bad group settings is the same thing, mainly has to do with people aren't doing their fair share. Or I feel like I'm getting stuck doing the whole discussion or the whole PowerPoint by myself, or my slides are more than theirs or different than theirs, or someone's getting work done right away, no one's contributed the whole time, and then it's the day before it's due, then they do it, which is frustrating. But I've also had good group experiences where specifically I had a summer session that I did for my experimental research class in my undergrad psych. It was such a small group and we were supposed to conduct this research. And I feel like we came together quick, which was helpful. That like forming stage, we introduced each other, but then during the storming, it wasn't detrimental. We did have individual thoughts and feelings towards each other, but we moved past that and worked so well together that we completed this whole research project during that whole summer semester, presented it. It was just such a lovely experience. And that was kind of one of my most recent and most last like group experiences in a school educational setting, that it was just so positive of how we all came together that honestly it left a good taste in my mouth of I don't mind groups. And I do like the dynamic and seeing how different people work with others and how what they can bring to the table that's different than what I would bring to the table. I think it's very important to have different perspectives and different ways to go about things, where sometimes I'll wait till last minute, but now I'm in a group setting and I feel like I need to be like the better version of myself. And if I see someone, they're uploading their PowerPoint or they're texting, emailing more often, I want to do that too. So I don't know. I think I have a good idea of groups and I don't mind them as much as I used to, more so in high school. And I am excited to learn more about it and see how it can benefit, especially the workplace and just managing groups. So I'm very excited for this class and look forward to working with you all.